Step 9. Combine parts. Press fit in the ankle rod toothpick. Make sure that the crank rod is facing up before you push the toothpick in. And we're going to use this toothpick to adjust the spacing of the sides until we get a smooth motion of the crank rod. Now, step 2, cut a 3mm rod bamboo skewer to 80mm. So we're also going to mark the halfway point there, 40mm. 3. Cut notches with scalpel 4mm deep in each end. Ensure both notches are aligned. Be cautious not to split the rod. So work very slowly, cutting a notch in each end about 4mm deep. Fishing line will run through this slot. If you do split the rod, you can glue that split back together with some PVA glue, but just work slowly. And when you're done with the one side, do the other side and make sure that it's in alignment with the first notch, so both notches are straight up and down. Now I'm just opening the slot here with a fingernail and letting some runny PVA glue slip into the crack and squeezing it shut again just to make sure there's no split. Now cleaning out the excess glue with the end of the knife. We don't want any glue in there to make the motion of the fishing line sticky as it slides through. Now I'm just cleaning out more glue with the fishing line. It's going to be a smooth motion when it's dry. And now we're attaching the body through the hip joint with that rod. And checking the motion, checking that the hips aren't squeezing the body, that it moves up and down smoothly. And when it is, and the notches are vertical, we can set that in place with a drop of super glue. Now we're attaching the tail, making sure the crank rod is in the center of the tail pieces, and then attaching a toothpick through all three to fix it to the body. Should be a press fit in the body and a loose fit on the tail and the crank rod. Now trimming the excess. Especially at these sides here, as that's where the motor will sit. Now we're going to attach the wings. So coat all of the bellow area and the clamping ring with PVA. And when you clamp on the wings, they must not protrude past the short straight edge where the head will sit, as that will interfere with the placement of the head. They all must sit flush at that area there. And you can clamp it to the top and bottom of the wings. And then you can leave that to dry, it's best. Now chop the ends off a toothpick and push them into the center where the neck will pivot. Now it's important to get the length of that rod correct. The head has to sit, so it's just 1 millimeter off the body. So sit the head there and mark where the rod will come to, and chop the rod, test the fit. There's a bit more gap there than we need, so chopping off a bit. Still a bit too much gap, working very slowly. Now that's just right. Now we're going to insert the vertical guide pins for the fishing line. Leave these a bit longer than they need to be to start with, and to get the size we'll sit the head just behind and mark where those faces match, and trim off those guide pins. Work slowly, trimming off a bit at a time till they sit just below the face of the head and the head moves smoothly without being impinged. Now we're going to put on the horizontal guide pins, so they sit on the little saddles in the body. Just mark them to size and trim, and we have 2 of those, one at the back of the neck and one at the front, and add a drop of super glue onto the saddle and sit the guide pin in place, making sure you don't get any glue on the neck to stop its free motion. And now we're adding the crank rod, the winding handle, and that is step 9 completed. Check the motion. Bird should sit up and down.